Okay. All right, we did it. And of course, it's silence. Great. All right, let's talk about the ups and downs of Life is Strange True Colors, shall we? So, like the first Life is Strange, this game has been kind of a roller coaster ride. Life is Strange Before the Storm, I may be in the minority here, but I didn't really love it. There wasn't any supernatural element. There wasn't any video gamey superhero or like superhuman mechanics that to change up the gameplay. It was just cutscenes and dialogue choices, and it was okay, but I didn't think it lived up to the first one. The second one was kind of like balls to the wall action the whole game, which I liked, but it also didn't have any since this person with superpowers wasn't you didn't really have any of that either. So the first one is my favorite because it's got all that video gamey like timey rewind mechanic in it, and the story was also really, really excellent. However, I think it had some ups and downs. I like 2 chapters in, I wasn't sure how I felt about that game, and then 4 chapters in, things started to get really crazy, and then by the end, I was sold. I loved that game by the end, right? This game has kind of been the opposite. I think the first 2 chapters were really, really strong. At 2 chapters into this game, I thought that first of all, the story setup was excellent. I thought that the story for the first 2 chapters was great. There's 5 chapters, just like in every other one of these games. So for the first 40% of the game, the story was great. I liked that the characters' ability in this game. Well, I'm gonna find ways to phrase this without really spoiling anything. But I thought that the main, because it is a known premise of this game that you sometimes have like superpowers, or you deal with people that have superpowers. And the power in this game is very interesting. It's very unique, and it makes the gameplay choices. Better than any of the other powers. It really works with like, well, maybe not better than the first one, but in a very unique way, it helps you to make choices and how you're dealing with relationships with other people. So I thought that was really interesting. So I thought it kind of had the whole package 2 chapters in. The only thing I think that I think Life is Strange 2 had a crazier story right out the gate than this one, but this one's still a very good, strong story. Really good characters. And by the way, I had a big problem with Deck 9's first game, Before the Storm, because I thought that it was kind of like a lower quality from the Don't Nod games. Because Life is Strange 1 is Don't Nod, Before the Storm is Deck 9, Life is Strange 2 is Don't Nod again, and now this is Deck 9 again. And the next one, Double Exposure, will also be Deck 9. And so I was worried that I wouldn't like this as much, because Before the Storm seemed cheaper. They changed all the voice actors to no names. The animation didn't seem as good. Like, it was just more stilted. The facial animations didn't look as good to me. I thought that in this game, they did a much better job with all of that. The game looks, Don't Nod quality. The voice acting was all very, very good. All the facial animations were better than they've ever been. I thought all of that was very good. And then the 3rd chapter lost me a little bit, not because it wasn't good. It was fine. In fact, it had some very interesting choices in it, but it was just a little bit slower. It was a little bit, they pumped the brakes a little bit. And then for chapter 4, things got good again. Things got crazy. Things got crazier. They kind of started going in the direction like the first Life is Strange, where suddenly it's like, whoa, what's happening now? Like, this is crazy. There's all these crazy things are happening I didn't expect. I'm rambling a little bit. Let me sum up this. This game has, I think, 4 of the 5 chapters. I think this game has an excellent story, excellent characters, excellent technical execution. I think that it maybe doesn't have quite the best story. Like, I don't know if it's quite as good as Life is Strange 2, but it was good. It was A tier. And more than any of the other games so far, and this is true throughout, I thought that this game the story depended on your choices more in this game than any of the other ones. All the other ones are pretty much on rails. You have the same final choices at the end, no matter what. That may be true of this one too, but it felt different in this game. It felt like my choices, like how I responded to people and how I treated other people in the world, actually might make a difference in like how the outcomes of these people's lives. There were several. I speed through these games. I don't do anything that's not required, and that I've never felt like I paid a penalty for that in any of the other Life is Strange games. Where if I'm playing a Telltale game or like a supermassive horror game or something, that you're definitely going to pay for that if you're not thorough, right? And I know that because I've done it a million times. In this game, I felt like, especially toward the end, I was thinking, ooh, I should have talked to that person more, maybe, or I should have been more thorough about this part of the story, and maybe I would have had more options. I don't know if that's true or not, but it felt that way, and I liked that. So there was definitely some really good things going on. However, I think this game did the opposite of the first Life is Strange, in that instead of sticking the landing super hard like the first Life is Strange did, I had question marks. I wasn't sure about that game, and then it stuck the landing so hard that I was like, I can't help but love this game. The first Life is Strange at the end, it was so perfect. It worked out so well. It was so satisfying. It felt so good. And then, and not to say that it was super happy. It was actually a little bit sad, but it was so satisfying. The payoff was there. This game felt the opposite. It felt like things were going somewhere. I had some predictions about where things were going. This game is a little bit more predictable, I think, than the rest of them. There were some twists that I actually totally called out before they happened. That doesn't usually happen for me in these Life is Strange games. They're usually pretty unpredictable. I think this is the most predictable of them. But still, the story was good until the last chapter, man. I did not like the last chapter in this game at all. It was, first of all, it does that thing where it's like a lot of dream sequences, like 2001 Space Odyssey, or, you know, any 50 million other games where at the end it's all abstract, and it's like, ugh, just bring me back to the story. And then it did, and I thought the big payoff was coming, and it just didn't materialize. I didn't find it to be satisfying at all. And, you know, every one of these, and again, I'm trying to phrase all this in order to be spoiler free. All of these games end with some major choice at the end. You have to make some final decision about how things are going to go. And like I've said before, the games don't really give you a lot of agency, or whatever agency you have is kind of imagined. So you get those choices no matter what, right? You get those final choices no matter what in all three of the other Life is Strange games. This game does have a final choice, but they could have picked 5 others that would have been way better. There's I was thinking, what's the final decision going to be? What's the final decision going to be? It could be this, it could be that. I was theorizing out loud throughout the video. And then everything, all the conflict stuff ends. You get a resolution without making any choices. And then it gives you some piddling bullshit choice at the end instead. That doesn't, I mean, it's kind of nice in a way, but it's not to the scale that I'm used to dealing with the end. Like, it's a big decision. You know, every time I've paused the game and thought, oh, what should I do? What should I do? You know, this could go really wrong either way unless I pick the right one. What should I do? This one, I picked it in half a second because I could tell about a few seconds before it happened what the choice is going to be. I was like, well, I'm just going to do this. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I could have just as easily picked the other one, and it wouldn't have made any difference with my satisfaction level. I was really disappointed by the entire final chapter of this game. I just thought that the payoff wasn't there. There was such potential for good payoff with this game. And it just wasn't there. I was just really bummed out by the last chapter of this game. It could have been so good. There were some interesting parts of it. They answer some interesting questions that have been gnawing at me while I've been playing. But nothing really satisfying like in Life is Strange 1. The ending of Life is Strange 1 is incredible. And, you know, in Life is Strange Before the Storm, maybe it's not as weighty, but it's still important. Still an important choice. And then in Life is Strange 2, it's very important, and it's very weighty, and it's one of those things where it's like, ugh, it's gonna be tough regardless. This game is like, I don't care, whatever, do this one. Let's see what that cutscene plays. I just didn't care about it at all. So to sum up, I do think I like this game better than Before the Storm, because I just thought Before the Storm was all right, but it's kind of more just like a teen angst drama. You know, it has no supernatural element. It's not about anything like that. Whereas all these other ones, it's like you've got superpowers and you're dealing with like all the supernatural stuff. So there was some of that. I do feel like this game gives you more agency than anything else. I really did like the story until the end. And I loved, I thought the Deck 9 did a better job of keeping the technical quality up to the original Don't Nod standard. But I just thought the ending was so bad. And I thought that I mean, everything about the ending was just really bad. And I don't think this game had the, like, every area is just one-upping than the last one with, like, the plot and how dramatic everything gets, like Life is Strange 2 was like that, and Life is Strange 1 too. This game didn't really do that. It was more like it would kind of slow and then go real fast for a little bit and then slow way down and then go real fast for a little bit. It was kind of jerky like that, and I just hated the end. I just didn't like the end at all. But I'm still really glad I played it, and I'm still very much looking forward to Double Exposure next month. So that'll be good. Oh, and let's talk. I know we're going for a while. Let's talk about streamer mode on this game. I never thought I'd have this complaint. This is actually a huge deal. It shouldn't be, but it really is. You'll notice that this is completely quiet, right? So as far as I remember, none of the other Life is Strange games have had any kind of streamer mode, which has been a big problem because every time I upload these videos to YouTube, they get 50,000 copyright strikes because they're full of licensed music, right? So if any game to have a streamer mode, or, you know, where I can upload these to YouTube without a problem, this series should have it. And it's been a weird absence in the whole series. This game, for the first time, has one. I saw it and I thought, oh, great, awesome. So what we'll get basically the same experience, but the licensed music will just be replaced with something else. And, you know, it probably won't hit quite the same in some of the scenes, but it'll be fine. It'll be all right. It was not all right for two main reasons. Number one, some fucking idiot decided that instead of replacing the music with other just non-licensed music, they would just delete it and there would just be silence. And you know what? If credits or background music, still weird, but that's one thing. It's like, okay, well, that's a little bit weird, but I can survive that. No. We're talking about whole scenes where people are playing guitar and visibly singing and dancing and at parties, and there's like clearly, you know, music playing, and it looks ridiculous without being able to hear it. I mean, you know those memes on TikTok where they'll like take the music out of a music video and all you hear is like their shoes squeaking on the floor and them going hum. That's what it sounded like. That's what it was like. It was horrible. It was cringe as hell. It completely ruins every scene that has that. And there are a lot. So that's number one. It would have been very easy to put some unlicensed, yeah, maybe you have to move a few assets around in some of the scenes where they're actually playing the guitar or whatever, make a few tweaks. Come on. It's 2024 or 2021 when this came out. That's not an insurmountable task, right? Number two, it doesn't even fix the problem. I'm looking at my videos on YouTube right now. Every single one of them has multiple copyright strikes on it because they didn't actually mute all the video. It's like they took all the most important to the scene music and deleted that, but then the actual background music they just didn't bother with, and it fixes nothing. If I had this to do over again, I would have just left it on and been like, well, I guess big parts of this video are going to get muted or whatever. You know, I don't care about the monetization because I make like 50 cents off each of these videos, but I don't want the video to be messed up. I don't want to have like big parts to be muted, and I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. You know, so I if I had to do over, I'd just let it go because it ruins several scenes in the game. Multiple scenes per chapter are absolutely destroyed, and it takes you out of it 100%. When you're supposed to have some really heartfelt scene and somebody's playing guitar going, and there's not a sound to be heard other than the squeaking of their shoes. It's ridiculous. Who made that choice? And whoever did, it doesn't even work. It doesn't even work. I mean, again, I've got, I think 11, 12, without even uploading this video yet, copyright claims. It's an absolute, the streamer mode on this game is an absolute disaster. I imagine double exposure will have a streamer mode. I will not be turning it on. Because I don't, I guess some parts of the video are just, maybe I'll get in trouble or whatever, but it absolutely ruins the game. So that's a huge problem, and it's an easily fixable one. The problem with the ending not being good, I recognize that's a complicated issue, right? And there may be even a lot of people that disagree with me about that. I get that. There's nobody that could possibly disagree with me that this streamer mode is a fucking disaster. I can't imagine where their head was at when they made this situation, and they didn't even check to see if it would work. What a nightmare. Oh, you can, I see that the death counter's on the screen. You can ignore that. I don't have a death counter for this game. That's from the last game. All right, I'm going to shut up. But again, I liked this game, but it really did frustrate me a few times because they really dropped the ball in some places that they could have knocked it out of the park, and they just didn't. Whatever. I have strong feelings about this because I really, really wanted to like it. All right, that's it. You know, I'm not even going to look at the choices at the end. I don't even want to know. We're just gonna say goodbye. So, Life is Strange: True Colors. It's been fun, but we are now going to oh, I hit the wrong button. We're now going to delete you from our console and never play you again. Bye. Thanks a bunch.